Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. So today I'm working on the French garden and I think it's time to pop in my beehive. Pots and the shed are pretty much taken care of right there in that last prompt. So I think this week I'm going to use the time to insert my beehive that I've wanted to. And I think it'll nestle in just nicely there. So that's the plan, is pop this little beehive in. The only thing is I can't work out how I'm going to do this. Do I embroider it or do I add a piece of fabric and embroider over the top? So that's my big question. Oh, I did decide on the name for my shed. Flower Gardener. I need to get rid of the S because that's flowers and gardener. So it'll be Flower Gardener. I just need to embroider it. I've written it on there with my pen. I just need to come back and pop it on with a thread when I have one on my needle that suits the colours, which I'd say will happen very shortly when I figure out this little beehive. So I think my problem is I really love this image and the fact that it is a line drawing. Let's have a look for some fabric. Maybe that'll help me decide, you know, what. I've got my big bucket of scraps. Maybe that'll help me decide if I do a fabric applique or I do, you know, embroider it. So it's tricky because I've got a certain colour scheme happening. But like that'd be cute, but it's just the wrong colour. That one's a maybe. But it's got flowers all over the fabric, so I don't know if I'd see my embroidery. I'd have to go really heavy with my stitches. Could do something quite dark, but that doesn't really feel like a beehive to me. That's not bad, but I don't really want to get into oranges and things like that because my piece is red. But doing a red beehive would look silly. I'm tempted to do a chocolate stitched beehive. So it's there within the tones, but not heavy. Or a pale, where's my threads? Like you know, these sorts of tones. And I could even put it on a red stand if I wanted to keep the red happening. And then go crazy. Yeah, I can't do applique, I don't think. I found this in the box. Look at that. It's already attached from an old quilt. That would be an interesting piece to stitch on the side. That'd be a nice way to use a very old scrap. I can't even remember the quilt that I made and where that is and who got it. But that, I think, let me get rid of that. I don't want to use that. I'm going to sketch it and I'm going to embroider it. There you go, decision made. I'm just moving over here. So what I did on this side, because the other side's finished, it's all slow stitched and finished. So I thought while I was watching TV, I went along and just did the running stitch, or not the overcast stitch, right through to the top. So it's also secure. Now it's all about embellishing that side. I'll get rid of those pins. And now that I've found this piece of fabric joined together, I've headed off on a different tangent. For goodness sakes, Corrine, stay focused. But she can't. She just can't. So let's come over here now. I feel like I'm going to use this piece here, I think. And we're going to stitch it down and then we're going to stitch over it. Just trim the little morsels off. The only thing I'll need to be careful of is it's a different style to the other side. So I need to consider whether I break this down into a couple pieces and pop a little piece over on the other side so that it feels like it's, you know, together. Or I actually pull this all apart, which wouldn't be hard, and then just use those pieces over here. I think that's what I'll do. I've got a beautiful long piece. I'm tempted just to attach it all because that in itself is a memory. Maybe I use it as an edge. Maybe I fold it in half. And use it as a binding. Yeah, I like that. I like that. That way, if I want to bring more pieces out, from it to, you know, collage into it, I can. I think I'm going to do that. So much for the beehive. That's all good. It's all work towards the end, isn't it? It's all, it's what happens. You'll be stitching away or prepping an area for stitching and you start glancing at other areas and you think, oh, I might just get that bit done. And off you go on another tangent. Thank you to everyone for the names for my shed too. There were some great names. There was a common thread, as you could imagine, because we're all working in a garden shed. So there's definitely a common thread there. There we go. Oh well, this is great. I found a scrap and I've been able to use it. Does need joining a little bit more. It is coming apart. I'm just going to pin it here and see what comes of it all. Whether I take it back off and open it up, disconnect all of those little pieces, possibly. But at the moment, I do like it there. And it's a memory of a quilt that I can't remember. It's definitely something. Actually, I think it was a table runner. Now that I just don't recall a quilt being like in those colours. But I did do the odd table runner to sort of play with colour. Now, let's get back here. I'm going to try and nestle. I'm going to try and nestle it in here. Where's the template? Let's cut that out because that's a cheat's way of getting our shape right. The rest is pretty easy. So I might just trim this up. So you're watching this video Saturday morning. I'm getting very close to going on my cruise now. We leave on Tuesday, so next week. So you will be pleasantly surprised tomorrow with a new series. And don't get too excited. It's only 2 videos, but I've come up with a project. Finally got a project. You probably have a feeling what it's going to be because I've been working on those pieces through the week, and I think the idea may have even come while I was working on them. So I'm going to try and nestle it there, I think. Gives enough room for the big bench. I like the big bench. So you will see Sunday and Monday, part 1 and part 2. Oh gosh, I nearly did part 3. You'll see in part 2 that I stopped the video about 30 odd minutes in, because if I kept going, I'd just start finishing the piece. What's the point of creating a holiday piece if you're going to do it anyway at home? But I got enough done to get me probably less materials to pack. You'll know what I mean when you see it. So now it's just taking threads and things like that to stitch with. And I'll probably pop in some random scraps because you know how it is. You've got to have your random scraps. I think there's like these little lines. So they've got a line going through from side to side that is the actual hive line, the typical. Then they've put in these additional, gosh, that's crooked, additional lines as well. So lots of stitching. This will be good. Okay, that line probably wasn't needed. So we've got this little opening here that can be satin stitched in. Okay, so let's get this little stand happening. Okay, so we've got it creeping back here and creeping back there. That like that, that like that. Why does that look odd? Is my angle not right? No? That's better. Then I do some little stitches through there just to denote. And some little legs. Oh gosh, that's look at that leg versus that leg. What's happening there? I've got to make a decision. What type of leg am I trying to do here? I sort of like both of them in their own way, but it needs to be like that. Okay. It probably doesn't need to be as long. There we go. There's our little beehive. And as for the ground, well, you know the routine. More is more. So we can definitely do these little flowers. They look really sweet. I think we'll continue with the designer's concept here and just put some little dots in where extra one there. where these flowers are coming up. Okay. There's the little daisies. I even like this. A bit of a random branch coming out. We have the ground there, so that may not work so much there because we've got, or will it? Does it matter? Probably doesn't. So what's going to go here? But do I bring a branch in and then we put a line of lace here for something else? I'm going to sketch it in. So I like that look. Just doesn't make sense, does it, these pieces? They are so random design-wise. It just, anything goes. It's liberating, but it does make it tricky to plan things. Extra leaf in there. So, see, that then brings in those little leaves up here. Sort of gives the impression it's sitting under a tree, doesn't it? Okay. So I can drop my foreground down here like this has. I won't do daisies, we'll do a different flower, but we'll just sketch in those plants and there'll be something in there. And then we'll do a feature flower. I don't know what it'll be, but we'll sketch in a big centre. There we go. Yeah. Might even get a cheeky bee in. Just a little guy. Just a little bee. Probably put another one over there, but I'm thinking, I was wondering what I should put up here. I might do some bees up here with her, just to help bulk out that space. Some little bees buzzing around. we go. That just helps marry those two together. Okay, now I need to have a think about, or do I need to think about, to stop thinking this here? But no, I won't, because I'm not even finishing my sentences. I'm thinking I'm going to couch down no, it's too pale, it'll disappear. That would make it quite thick and chunky, and but it would make the lines very straight. But is that a problem? I could probably make the lines messy. Might start with couching around the outside. Maybe that'll tell me if I then go into the piece with this wool. Okay, let's get rid of all our excess bits and bobs. We need a needle for the thread. I'm going to use this goldy green thread as my couching down thread, I think. If I can thread the needle. There we go. All right, so let's get started and see what this will look like. Have I got anything under there? Can I just go straight into the mat? Yes, I can. So let's go. We're off and racing, and we've lost our thread. Goodness sakes. All right. So as I said, tomorrow, Sunday and Monday, you will see part 1 and 2 of the start of a new project. That project will go with me on my holiday, and I will continue to work on it and film little morsels. And then when I get back, I will piece it together to finish off that series. So part 3, 4, 5, whatever, you will not see probably till April, maybe even after Easter. We'll see. I might give you that to watch while I get myself back together and get back into these prompts, because I would have missed a prompt and come home around a prompt. So I'll be 2 prompts behind. So the project on the boat, on the ship, can be something for you to watch while I wait to get myself, work to get myself, you know, back into the flow of home. That'll take a little bit of pressure off. So that's the theory. And then I'm popping into a little bag some random pieces of fabric and stuff like that. So if something else comes out of my brain while I'm there, well, great, I'll film those morsels, and then that potentially could be a little series, you know, later on. And if I can, I'll do some filming around the boat if I'm game. Like I said, I don't really like doing stuff in public. So, but I'm sure I'll do something on shore. So stay tuned for the holiday adventures. I'm so looking forward to it. I was wandering around the house last night, and I've been madly doing all those chores you do before you go. if for some reason you decide to wipe down all the skirting boards in your house, and, you know, just silly. But you think, oh, it'd be nice to come home to a bit extra cleaning. So I've been just frantic going around the place, being an idiot, basically. So, but I have to say that due to my front door being replaced and some paintwork being done due to the break-in, it has spurred me on to do some additional cleaning. Because when you start moving furniture out of the way so that tradesmen can get in, you just see how big your dust bunnies are. So I have been very productive. I've been dragging out old coats. Well, they're not old, but they're coats in the cupboard that I only wear if I go to China for my work because it's so bitterly cold. Queensland just doesn't get cold enough to wear these coats because they're often in China when it's snowing. So we've pulled out our China coats and I've given them a wash, and we're in the middle of a heat wave at the moment again. So these things, I wash them and I put them on the line on a hanger, and they would dry within 20 minutes because it was so hot. It got really hot. I think we're in for it again today, but having said that, this morning it's really cloudy and I feel like there's a bit of a mist coming down, like I could be in for some rain. I don't even see this. I feel like I'm going backwards on myself. It's a bit cack-handed here. So hubby wants to get a mow in before we go, but you wouldn't believe it, because we had to move some rugs out of the way for the tradesman. I rolled them up. I gave him a call and he come in and helped me carry them, and you won't believe what's happened. He's put his back out. So all day yesterday he's sitting there moaning and groaning and like, oh no, what have I done? He had back problems years ago. He lifted something an odd way and he was out of action for months. But he got himself sorted, got back on top of it, and then through exercise he's managed to, you know, keep it at bay. But occasionally it flares up just a little bit, but he knows now to stop and what to do. I need to turn this because I'm feeling like I'm working backwards. Yeah, so he knows what to do. But, oh gosh, I couldn't believe it. Could you imagine? He's got, what's today? I think it's Wednesday for me. So he's got 6 days to get his back right, to enjoy the cruise. What's the odds of that's going to happen? So yes, a little bit disappointed, needless to say. So my hours of trekking around cities and towns is looking very dubious because he's just not going to be able to do it. So yeah, isn't it the way, but isn't it the way? So I don't know how the lawn mow is going to happen. Well, it's not, is it? Because officially Friday we start our holidays. Well, we're off to Harvey Bay to drop Pepper off to a friend who's going to look after Pepper, and then back Sunday afternoon. So how's he going to do the drive? Sitting in the car? Well, I can drive, but it's that sitting. Oh, my goodness me. How inconvenient. Let's hope he wakes up this morning and feels heaps better. And he was funny because he went and grabbed some Nurofen. Probably about 2 hours later, he's trotting around. We're getting internet upgraded. We've finally got optic fibre in the street, so we're getting new internet. So the men came and actually ran the cables yesterday, and they'll fit it off when we get back. So he's out on the street chatting to them and helping them, and I thought, oh, great, his back is really good. And then probably about 8 o'clock last night, he went to sit in the couch and he groaned and yelped and, oh, I tell you, it was back. So the medicine was just masking it, and he got himself a little bit too confident, and that's what happens, I think. You take something to dull the pain and then you carry on your life thinking you're invincible, and then you get a kick up the bum. So he's just going to have to rest as much as he can now. I think that's enough. No movement. Just let the spasms relax and slowly unwind, because otherwise, if you keep going, you think you're not in pain, but you are. You just can't feel it. That's my expert opinion anyway, which is a little frustrating because I can think of 20 billion jobs to do before we go. I'm coming to the end of that little beehive. It's very subtle. Do I like that subtle? I think it'll look better once I get more lines in it. It's going to take a bit of effort, mind you. That's a lot of couching, but that's good. I am tempted to take this piece because I could lose myself in it, but I don't know. Will it feel like a holiday? What do I do with the needle? So I'm going to, I think, push it down in. I might come up, might do the little hole, the entry. I might just do some satin stitch there instead of couching the circle. I'll just satin stitch across to do the little maybe that hole should be darker. Maybe it's got a front door on it, therefore you're not seeing in and it's not a hole. No, that's silly because the bees go in there. I'll keep going. I just like the wool. It's beautiful. Let's finish that off because I'm running out. Okay. It's variegated too, so there's more there than I thought. So that will make it quite interesting. But do I want that for the whole beehive? Let's just get my little door opening. Okay. I do like it. It's a bit abstract because technically that should be a hole, but maybe we're looking in and we're seeing the back of the Beehive, which is the colour that is okay. There you go. Then I can justify it. Okay. Yep. Done. Now, what do we do with the rest of the Beehive? We've got all these little stitches that need to also happen on it as well. Just going to bring the needle up on the side there and take it across. Oh, I do like that. I like it because it's a bit chunky. So and if I wriggle it around a little bit, I could probably make it look like it is not a straight line. You know, just sort of bend it and manipulate it a little bit as I stitch it down. Because if it's straight, it's going to look a bit silly, I think. So I'm just going to get 2 or 3 lines that'll use that thread up. Grab this thread again and have a little stitch. Now, if that looks good, I'll leave that and go on to something else, because that sort of sets me up with what I'm going to do. Plus you guys get to see the plan of attack. I'll do that little needle. Now the posts and the stand. So I'm going to start there. And I'm going backwards a little bit, but I need to turn it. Going to attempt, I need to get rid of my, I just pulled the thread out, for goodness sakes. I'm getting rid of my glasses so I can see the detail of this. No, why make it hard on myself and use that blooming needle? Okay. That's better. Now cooking. Isn't it amazing when you can actually see how much faster you can go? So I need to make sure I make it wriggly, those lines, and not straight. So for once I can mess it up a bit. Yep, that's good. You see how much quicker couching is once you get going and you get your stitch sorted. It's really quick. Yep. I may not even need all of those little strokey lines that's on the image. All those little upward lines, because I've got so much texture in the fabric. And then the wool is probably thicker than what I would have normally had if I'd used stranded cotton. So it's possible that I don't need them. It would become just too much detail. Does that make sense? Okay, so that's going to work. That is just lovely. So I'm just going to knot the pair of them off. I like that mustardy, goldy thread. I found it in my box of cottons that I got from my grandmother's sewing room. So it's every colour under the sun. And in there was that one, and I use it all the time. Okay. I probably could have get another line out of that, to be honest, but anyway, we're going to leave that for now because I want to work out a few other pieces, so I've got plenty of homework to go on with. Yeah, that'll work. It'll look like quite a chunky 3-dimensional piece that now I'm thinking, my original thought was maybe I'd be a bit cheeky and bring in some red, but could I do that? Because the piece is quite, oh, I like that. Is that too dark? But I haven't used this one yet. Is there another timber toned? No. Where's mine? Let's grab a little bobbin out because I have a feeling it is about to get unravelled. It might be a bit dark. I better turn my phone off because someone's going to end up ringing for sure and interrupt. So that can stay with the little bobbin. Looks pretty strong and dark, but it does look nice. It's like a burgundy. I guess if I don't do too much of it, because I had visions of satin stitching all that, but maybe I should just, if I use this, I might need to just, oh, there goes my stomach, I'm so hungry. Let's have a little look. I do like it, but if it was satin stitched, it might be too much. Maybe I've got to continue with the couching effect. I don't know. Let's have a look. Let's get this needle threaded. All right. So if I just do a running stitch or I think it'd look a bit not natural. I'm thinking I'm going to couch it actually. Let's get a couple lines in for the structure. Ow. Yeah, I do like it. It sort of helps anchor the piece, having that dark colour down there. probably too far to be skipping ahead with my thread, but because I want the thread to be a bit wobbly and bumpy and lumpy and not so straight, I can be a bit cheeky and lay down the stitches further along and then come along and couch. Okay. Can I be cheeky and come back across that front? Oops. That's what happens. You start taking your previous threads out. So you've got to be a little bit careful. And then back to there. Yeah, I do like that. And I can do a bit of shading in it, I think. And I might end up using, what stitch will I use? What thread? I think I'll use this goldy one because it'll tone it to the whole piece a little bit. And it might knock the red back just a fraction too in colour so that it's not so bold. I could use cream thread, but it tends to blend a little bit too much with the background. I'm getting knotted at the back here. I need to deal with this thread. I'm going to finish it off because I'm confident that even if it gets a bit sloppy, it won't matter because I need that sloppiness in there to make the threads sit right on the piece. As long as it's not too tight. No, that's all right. So now I can just come back through and stitch. So I think this will work. Once again, get rid of the glasses. See how much faster I can stitch when I don't have spectacles on my nose. So what I will do is I will finish off the little beehive and then I will come back in the next video and we'll continue working on it. Now the golden question is, will you see this piece pop up again? Because the only day that I don't have something scheduled now is the day I actually go, the Tuesday. I'd say I'll get some done because it's only Wednesday. So if I can get even another video done tomorrow morning, that'll be your Wednesday video. Any more will give me Thursday, and then Friday Henrik's back. So we'll see. I do have time. I tend to get a couple videos a day made if I put my mind to it. But we will see. Stay tuned. Yeah, that's good. Hope it's wriggling around enough to make it look like a rickety old piece of timber. I think it is. Gone quiet, haven't I? I'm concentrating on this corner. If I can get up there with a few little stitches, I will then needle and thread again because I'm sort of working back on myself. So we'll finish that off. Oops. That's because I don't have my glasses on. I'm flicking everything everywhere. So let's get ourselves another thread. Okay. Now I can come back to that beginning point and stitch that down as well. Oh, I lost my thread now. Goodness sakes. Glasses back on so I can find thread. Piece is so heavy that it just drags the thread out of my hand. That knot is barely in the end there. Okay. Hope I'm on screen. Yeah. Ow, 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 ow. Don't be doing that. No more injuries. Okay. There we go. Beautiful. I'll bring my thread up down here because the next spot would be the little legs. So I'll do that. How are we going for time, guys? Oh, we got a little bit. And this little bit of yarn left on the needle would be enough for a little leg. It's just a little bit needed. And back up, back down, one little leg. Once you figure it out, it does come together reasonably well, doesn't it? It's just the figuring that can take some time. I wonder if that's enough to do the other leg. Can I be cheeky enough and get another leg out of that? Let's have a look. Should be able to. If I don't go back on myself too much. It's going to come close. Knotting it off might be a challenge. Bingo, we got it. Let me just flip it. And knot that off. Just beautiful. Lovely. So now I can find this guy. My needle. And run the couching stitch around. I'd say I will get this finished in the allotted time. I love the feeling when you iron off all your lines, because your lines tend to muddy it a little bit when you're looking at it. And it's a really nice feeling that you've got all your scribble out of the way and you're seeing the design for what it is. Well, it's going to be tricky to listen to the prompts and not be able to do anything. I tell you, I could probably take some of those smaller pieces and I'll have embroidery cottons with me and be able to just do something. I don't know. I'm going to end up taking that much work with me. It'd be ridiculous. Because I could even, you know, get on the ship and just take a big breath and go, and not do a thing. And spend my whole time riding around on dodgem cars. I doubt it. Hubby was looking forward to that. Guess who won't be doing that with his back? He won't be able to even get in them. I want to have a go at that air tunnel. They put a parachute-like gear on you. It's not a parachute because you don't need a parachute. But then they shoot air up and you float. So it gives you a bit of a feeling of parachuting. Be the closest I ever get to parachuting, let me tell you. I wouldn't mind having a go at that. So that would be a bit of fun if I'm game. I chicken out, you know, I think these things and then I'm like, get there standing there and I'm like, nah, not today. So it could be just all talk. Okay, there we go. I'm pleased with that. So all I got to do is finish that little beehive. Later today I can do a bit of stitching when I'm sick of cleaning. Okay. Done, done, done. That's great. Where's the glasses? Let's have a look at the final piece. Yeah, that's nestled in beautifully there with that scene. It's nearly like we're heading up the hill to her. Awesome. So my homework will be to finish some more lines on my little beehive, and then come back in the next video and start working the flowers around. Having said that, I just don't know if you will see it. We'll see how we go. No pressure. All right, guys, look after yourselves, and as I said, tomorrow you will see part 1 and part 2 of a new little series, and that's the project that I'm doing on the boat. And then that brings us into the day I actually leave. So whether there'll be a video, don't know. And then Friday you'll have Henrik, and you'll also have the vintage sewing, paper piecing techniques and things like that. Okay, guys, I will leave you alone and I will see you all in the next video. Bye for now.